Hi everybody, I'm so sorry I'm late. It's good to see you guys, sort of, these cameras on, but still. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to do some writing together today. We're going to format our paper, so I think that'll put you guys in good shape for the essay. So just, you know what to do. Unmute yourself if you have questions or drop them into the chat. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about some key terms, all right? I know I keep talking about these over and over again, but when we do our writing conferences, it's important that you know what I'm talking about, right? So when I say you need another stakeholder voice, I want you to know what that means. So let's just look at them one more time. Synthesis is when you combine different parts and you make something new. So we're going to take those different voices in our controversy and we're going to combine them together to get an overview of the whole issue. The controversy is something people argue about in public. A stakeholder are those who are directly affected by the outcome. They have something at stake. They have something to win or lose. The context is everything that goes along with the writing. Who's talking? What prompted them to speak? What are they speaking in response to? The exigency is the immediate event that led to this public debate. What happened to put this in the public? What's going on? Was there a documentary? Was there a news event? Did somebody get hurt? Why are we talking about this? And then the term we talked about last week is stasis. That's finding that common discussion point among stakeholders so we can have a conversation so that we're talking about the same thing instead of me talking about this and you talking about this and we just talk right past each other. Okay, so that's what we've talked about so far. Here's a review of all of your assignments. Have you completed the discussion boards using a thesis template 3.1.1? I'm so sorry, hang on. I'm going to drop this into our chat so you guys can look at the spreadsheet and you don't have to write all this down. Have you done the discussion board on the types of introduction? You should have gathered information for the introduction. You should have written some synthesis paragraphs by stakeholder and viewpoint. You should have identified your stasis questions and you should have written the introduction. All of that's what should have happened at this point, and it actually looks, or the link I just sent you will take you here. All right, to this spreadsheet where I've got these items. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to actually write the paper and you're going to self-review your writing. So we're going to format the paper and we're going to complete the first draft. Remember that first draft is due to me on Thursday. That's tomorrow at 9 p.m. We're turning in the one for UT a week from Thursday on October, I don't know why that says October 20th. Oh, that's the other class. A week from Thursday on October 29th. That's when we're turning it into UT. So the first thing we need to do is we need to format the paper. And here's how you're going to do that, okay? You're going to go into our classroom. And then you're going to go into classwork and you'll see mapping a controversy body and conclusion. And I want you guys to pull up that assignment. When you pull up that assignment, you'll see three things. You'll see a, hi there. You'll see a PDF document and you'll see two Google Docs. One of them says editing your paper. Don't open that one. The other one says mapping a controversy. Do open that one. It looks like this, okay? So I'd like everybody to get there. I'm going to give you a minute and then we'll do the next thing. What's your name?
Avion.
Avion! I'm so excited to meet you in person. Okay, do you need to plug in? You have it charged? Okay. So you're going to get on our Google Classroom. I don't have them from weekend, so I can't show you the slides. And we're going to be writing today anyway. Okay? Let me know when you get on the classroom. I'll wait until you're there to do the next thing. Okay, I'm in the process of responding to you. Include all the points. You're only writing one paper. Okay, so one more time, everybody should have this Google Doc pulled up. It says mapping a controversy, and it probably says your name on it. We're going to format the paper first. So hopefully everybody's got this pulled up. You can get there by going to Google Classroom, Classwork, Mapping a Controversy, Body, and Conclusion. And you've got 3 different items there. You want to pick the one that says Mapping a Controversy, the Google Doc. Not editing your paper, but mapping a controversy. That'll take you to this. We've been having internet issues, so if you feel like it's moving too slow, we can plug you in to the internet. You just would have to move it. Classroom. And that very first assignment, mapping a controversy, body, and conclusion. And then you've got 3 documents. You want the one that says your name mapping. That should take you to a Word document. Yep, okay. Okay. So I hope everybody's here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to format the paper. That means we're going to set it up. We're going to do the header. And we're probably not going to get to the works cited today. That's okay. We'll do the works cited next class. Okay? So setting up the paper itself and the header. Okay? So I'm going to do this with you. We're all going to do the same thing. All right? And then you'll have it set up. Okay, so to set up the paper, what I did is I went to our actual assignment and I looked at what it asked us to do, okay? And when we come into the rubric, the very first thing that it says is the paper meets the minimum requirements for length and formatting, 4 to 6 pages, not including the works cited in length. It's double spaced with 1-inch margins and has an MLA heading in the upper left-hand corner. All right. So in order to do that, we're going to do that. So the very first thing that I want you guys to do is to make sure your paper is spaced correctly. Go ahead and highlight everything on your paper. I've already written some text for you. Go ahead and highlight that. Once it's highlighted, I want you to go to Format, and come down 4 to where it says line spacing. And then I'd like you to select double. And now your paper is double spaced. So I'll repeat that. Highlight the text, go to Format, come down to line spacing and select double. Okay, so now your paper is double spaced. The next thing you have to do is set the margins for 1 inch. So go to File and scroll down to the very bottom of that menu and you'll see Page Setup. It's right above Print. Select that and you'll see that the margins are set at 1 inch on the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. You can click OK. Another way to check that is to go to View and make sure your ruler is showing. And then at the top, right above your paper, you'll see these blue kind of triangles. And those blue triangles are 1 inch in from the edge of the page. This one is at 6.5, and the page ends at 7.5. Okay, so you can just double check there and make sure you're at 1 inch margin. The last thing that we need to do is we need to have a header. In order to do that, we have to follow the MLA header guidelines. We're going to find those on the Purdue OWL website. Let me send a link to you in the chat so you can go here yourself. Does anybody have any questions so far?
You always post these on Google Classroom, like the recordings of the class?
Yes.
Okay.
This will be up under classroom videos. I'll do that as soon as I stop teaching. I'll download that and upload that. So you can go back over it if you need to. Okay. So once we're in Purdue OWL, we want to go, scroll down a little bit, and it says Suggested Resources, MLA Guide. That is what we want. So I'm going to click that, and this is everything you need to know about MLA, Modern Language Association formatting. The Purdue OWL is their online writing lab, their OWL. So this is going to be very useful for you for the rest of your life. This is like the standard of how to write a paper. It's got formatting for everything, suggestions for how to make your writing better. This is just a really useful website. If I scroll down a little bit more, I see that we've got some more information. I'm interested in formatting today. So I'm going to click the Formatting and Style Guide. And once I'm in there, under General Guidelines, it's got all the information I need. It says to use an 8.5 by 11 paper, we are. To double space it, we are. Leave 1 space after periods. Set the margins to 1 inch. We just did that. Indent the first line of each paragraph by using the Tab key. If you look at your keyboard right now, you'll see the Tab key is right above the caps lock on the left-hand side of your keyboard. And when you use the Tab key, this is what happens. It indents for you, okay? So instead of having to use the space bar to go over 5 spaces, you just hit the Tab key and it does that automatically. The Tab key is better because sometimes when we just use the space bar and we open it in another document, like if I write mine on my MacBook and then I use my Chromebook to open it up, the spacing messes up. But if you use the Tab key, it will always be correct. So you need paragraphs in this paper and you need to indent them by using the Tab key. The next thing the Purdue OWL says is to create a header that numbers all pages consecutively, that means in order, in the upper right-hand corner. So let's do that. Okay, I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to come all the way down to where it says Page Numbers, okay? I want the page numbers to be in the upper left-hand corner, and I want them to start on page 1. So I'm going to select this box right here, okay? And look what it did. It put the page number in the upper left-hand corner for me. I need to put the cursor in front of that and type my last name. So it now should say Richie 1. It should actually say whatever your last name is, right? So I have Davion sitting in class with me. His is going to say Clark 1. Chloe, yours is going to say Crook 1. All right? And then if you were to go down in your paper, you'll see that the next page will say Richie 2. And then if you were to go down even more, the next page will say Richie 3. Okay, it's going to automatically do this for you. You want to make sure you have your last name and then the page number set up. Again, to do that, I went to Insert, Page Numbers, and then the one I picked was the one that has the page numbers in the upper right, and it starts on the first page. So that's this box, okay? Then it says, I'm going to skip down to where in the Purdue Owl it says formatting the first page of your paper. Don't make a title page unless it's requested. They did not request a title page, so we will not make one. In the upper left-hand corner of the first page, list your name, your instructor's name, the course, and the date. I'm going to go to my paper, and in the upper left-hand corner, okay, I'm going to write the name. I'm going to use my son's name. Then the instructor's name, that's me, it's Kelly Ritchie. Then the course name, that's RHE 306, and then the date. And the date is the day, the number, which is 21, the month, which is October, and the year, 2020. Okay, so that's how your heading should look. You can't see that because I did not tab over. So again, I'm going to go to the top of the page, the top left-hand page. I'm going to write the name. I'll just start from the beginning so you can see it. I'm going to do the name. It's Ethan Ritchie. That's my son. Then the instructor's name, Kelly Ritchie. The course is RHE 306. And then the date with the number, the month, and the year. Yours should look like this. I'll give you a minute to do that. Good or not?
Oh, I'll be just fine.
Okay. So at the very top, like hit enter a couple of times. Okay. Good. Now get rid of those numbers. You can just put that right there. Make sure you get rid of it. Yeah. Okay. Now your name. Okay, then underneath it is my name. It's Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y. And then Ritchie, R-I-C-H-E-Y. The course name is capital R, capital H, capital E, space 306. And then today's date. It should be 21, space October, spelled out. And then 2020. Okay, good. And remember for your paragraph to hit tab. Okay? Okay. Is everybody good? Does everybody have that? Does anybody need me to go over any part of that? Okay, so you should have your paper formatted. You should have 1-inch margins. It should be double spaced. You should have the MLA heading in the upper left-hand corner, last name. You should have the page numbers in the right-hand corner, last name, page number. In the upper left-hand corner, it should be your name, Kelly Ritchie, RHE 306, 21 October, 2020. We're not going to do the works cited. Okay, so now what I want you guys to do is I want you to go back into well, you're actually on that paper, so stay on that paper. And these are your instructions for how to write it. You need to copy and paste your introduction into this paper. The introduction you already wrote. Then you need to write the body paragraphs, and then you need to write the conclusion. The conclusion, the rubric, specifically asks you to reiterate and synthesize. If I look at this, it asks you to reiterate and synthesize. Oh, I can't find it right now. The relations among the positions. In other words, you need to cover the various positions again and say how those positions are connected. So James is asking if the date is going to be today's date or the date we turn it in. The date is the date you're writing the paper. So today's date is just fine. That's where we're starting our draft. You won't need to change it. You can leave it today. Okay, after you've written the paper, and I do not want you to worry about length yet. That's not what we're concerned about. We're worried about content. I promise that if you have everything you need, this paper will be 4 to 6 pages, okay? But this is our first draft, what you're turning in to me tomorrow. So I don't care about length. I'm not checking to see if it's 4 to 6 pages. I'm checking to make sure you did everything you were supposed to do, okay? So if in the back of your mind you're going, but it's not long enough, I don't care, all right? That's not an issue for us today. I want you to go back into Google Classroom now, and I want you to pull up the other Word document, the one that says editing your paper, okay? It looks like this. After you've written your draft, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back through and number all your paragraphs in your draft, and I want you to read that paper paragraph by paragraph. In the table below, next to each paragraph number, you're going to write a 1-sentence explanation of what that entire paragraph is trying to accomplish. You could write something like, this paragraph gives background information, or the paragraph summarizes the position of an important stakeholder, or this paragraph explains how the arguments made by certain stakeholders compare to the arguments made by other stakeholders, okay? And here's the table. You don't need 12 paragraphs. You could have less, you could have more, it doesn't matter. If you have more, just add. Once you've written those sentence summaries, I want you to read them all together and ask yourself, does this organization make sense to you? Do the paragraphs connect to each other, or do you need to move paragraphs around? Then I want you to check and make sure you have all the criteria. I pulled this from the 3.4.2 rubric, the minimum requirements, and the specific requirements. I went through all this, and here's the table that I came up with. Do you introduce the controversy and provide background? Do you explain the exigency? Do you describe the viewpoints of at least 2 stakeholders? Do you explain where those viewpoints agree and disagree? Do you include the main questions being debated? Do you quote at least 3 different sources? Hi, Mr. Burns. Do you need some?
I'll leave it.
That's okay. I'm almost done. I'll come over in like 5 minutes.
I just had a question about password reset. Have you been doing that at all?
I did it when I was at Northside.
I'm trying to help one out.
I'll be over, just let me finish this one
Okay.
slide, and I'll be over, okay?
Okay.
Did you quote at least 3 different sources? Did you use MLA citation? Did you introduce the speaker when quoting? And then does your conclusion do what I just said? Do you cover the various positions and how those positions are connected? How are they similar, different, or complementary? Then what do you need to add or improve? So I think looking at your paper this way will tell you what you're missing. You're going to do all this and turn it in, both things, by 9 p.m. tomorrow. That's going to give us a chance on Friday to look at this, for you and I to conference about it, and it's going to give me time over the weekend to dig in and give you suggestions so that you can revise this so that you can turn it into UT, okay? Does anybody have any questions for me?